And as long as you're playing by some type of should, you're playing by a rule that is not your own. Being able to feel like you're winning every single day rather than only winning when you hit some type of accomplishment that you've set.
You're listening to the Soul Whispers podcast. This is your guide to break out of your fears, follow the path that lights you up, and come home to yourself. I'm your host, certified life coach and soul whisperer, Jen Sway. Before we begin, know that wherever you are in your journey, you can trust yourself. You're being divinely guided, and your life is meaningful. Now, let's start the show.
Hello friends, and welcome back to the Soul Whispers podcast. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jen Sway. I'm a soul whisperer as well as a certified life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive tarot reader. I help people navigate life after a spiritual awakening, so really answering those big questions of who you are, what your purpose is, and helping to guide you into alignment with your true self. This season is all about relationships, and we're starting off with the relationship with yourself. So if you haven't listened to the last two episodes, you're going to want to dig into those. Episode 101, which is all about my core life philosophy, virtues, values, and vision, also known as my soul whispering philosophy. That's going to help give you some context into everything that I talk about moving forward, because that is going to be the crux of how I see this world, right? That's going to help inform you as well from the lens of which you can now experiment with your life when I'm giving you these perspectives and guidance and challenges to think differently, to act differently, to feel your feelings. It's really all rooted in so that you can have a very fulfilling life for yourself. Now, in the last episode, number 102, which was all about your relationship with yourself internally and de-shaming yourself, this episode is focused on your relationship with yourself from an external sense, really talking about the shoulds. So here's the funny thing. There's a thing in tarot called the Major Arcana, and that's the first 22 cards of the deck. It's a 78 card deck, all there to help you to, get closer to yourself, your spirituality, to give you guidance. And it has a story, right? The first 22 cards is called the Major Arcana, which deals with big life themes that are happening in your life. It's the life lessons that you're learning. It's the phase of life that you're in. It's, who you're starting to step into and become, like those types of energies. And it's the umbrella of what's going on in your day-to-day. And I pulled Justice 3 separate times, all about what this episode should be about. And within Justice, this is a card of alignment. It's number 11, which is a master number that's about alignment, aligning with your spirit, your true self. And it's about deconditioning your mind to what paradigms that you have grown up in, that you have marinated in, and starting to question what is actually right, what is actually wrong, what is good, what is bad, according to you. And the funny thing is that there is no such thing as right or wrong, good or bad. It is just what you make right. It is what you make good, right? So maybe this is also coming up because I'm going to go get ice cream tonight with my boyfriend, and I'm very excited. But I could go eat ice cream if I was operating under the paradigm that I was when I was in high school, where ice cream is unhealthy. Then from that place, it would be very out of alignment for me to go and do that, because if I value health, then I'm doing something that goes against that, right? However, I'm not in that paradigm anymore. And the paradigm that I operate in now is that there is no such thing as good or bad food. All foods have varying levels of health to you. And it's actually, what does my body feel like when I'm eating certain foods that make it healthy or not healthy to me? And also having a more holistic point of view with health. If food is part of a way that it wants to be expressed, right? That, for example, a value of relationships wants to be expressed. And one of the virtues that I have is curiosity, adventure, fun, love, right? Then I can actually go about my life eating ice cream, going on ice cream trips with friends or with family members, with my partner, and be able to enjoy that experience without making it mean that I am sacrificing some value of health. And also from this lens, because I remember ice cream, I loved ice cream. Okay, this is like a whole thing. I loved ice cream since I was a kid. And there was this place that my family would go to in Michigan called Dairy Mat. And Dairy Mat had orange ice cream. And it was orange soft serve. It was orange vanilla soft serve ice cream. They had vanilla and they had orange, and then you could do a twist. I think they also probably had normal flavors too, but like that's what they were known for. And let me tell you, my entire family was obsessed with it. It was delicious. It was thebomb.com. I was going to Dairy Mat for my entire childhood, into my adolescence, into my teenage years. It was used to literally like bribe me to do better in golf, because if I won a tournament or it was like, you know, had a tough day or whatever, we would go to Dairy Mat, right? I would celebrate with that ice cream. So ice cream has been a big part of my life forever. And it had so much meaning to it. It was one of the ways that everything got expressed, like love got expressed, celebration got expressed, sadness, and like, oh my God, I feel so bad. And like, I'm so sad. And it's like, okay, don't be sad, feel better, right? Have some ice cream. It was just one of those things. And I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. Well, fast forward to now, ice cream has shifted a lot for me, right? I remember in college being so stressed one day, being like having pulled all-nighters and whatever, that I ate an entire pint of vegan Ben & Jerry's, and I was just out. That was like awful for my body. I did not have a good time. I felt so sick and tired and gross. And I had all of these terrible thoughts about myself that was going on. Like, you shouldn't have done that. You knew better. Why did you do that? That was so bad for you. That was so unhealthy. That was so many calories. That was so fat. And like, now you have to do all this working out and all this stuff. And like, that was so much sugar. And like, why are you doing this thing? Why are you doing that? You know better. Like all of that crap, right? Take it to 2020. And this was where so much of the growth that I had done within my relationship with food has shifted. And I was able to see it so clearly. Because with ice cream, it was like, hey, I actually don't enjoy eating very much. I actually don't really want that much. In fact, I like ice cream. I still have this habit of wanting ice cream, but I'm satisfied after just having a spoonful. And that's okay. And that's good. I can let myself do that. I don't feel this urge anymore to eat all of this ice cream. So this is why now, with my virtues being so clear of like the things that I had mentioned, love, adventure, fun, integrity, whatnot. And then my values, my personal values, where I value my relationships, I value my health, I get to be expressed now through that, where, first of all, vegan ice cream to me feels great, right? It is plant-based, the place where we're going to, which I also love, shout out Yoga Ert in LA. They do homemade cashew nut milk based ice cream, and it's like homemade cashew and almond milk. I think they literally make it in-house every single morning. It's lower in sugar, it tastes delicious, they have great flavors, it's super creamy, and it's great, right? It is one of my favorite ice cream places on this entire planet. And I shared this with my partner one day because I think the best things in life should be shared. And he also really enjoys it. He loves it as well. And so from a place of love, from a place of fun and adventure for us, we get to go now and enjoy this together. There's no restrictions on how much we're going to eat, but also we both value our health. We both have sugar, limits within our own bodies where after a certain amount of sugar, you just don't feel good. And so because of that, we just get to enjoy the probably comparatively, right, small amount of ice cream, or who knows, maybe larger amount of ice cream to others, and not make it a problem at all. I don't have any of those thoughts from when I did in college of eating that entire pint of ice cream. It doesn't carry any heaviness with it that comes from eating ice cream out of sadness or stress. And actually, in fact, there's a lot of things that I can celebrate in my life right now in which this ice cream can also be part of that celebratory experience. And that celebration piece also being that we're going to go out to Santa Monica Pier and go longboard, enjoy the sunset, all of these things. And that's the thing too, is that the food is not the only piece that is going to be expressing that celebration. It's this whole adventure, right? And when I think back to going to celebrate with a dinner or something, it's like the dinner itself should be the celebration, right? But it never necessarily feels that way. And especially if you have food anxiety or something like that, food is not exactly the most neutral thing, right? It's not exactly fueled by all these great feelings necessarily. And then once it's over, it's just like over, right? Well, so this experience, when it's rooted in your true self, when it's rooted in your virtue, gets to be expressed so much more differently. And it gets to be like the entire day, the entire thing, being fueled by this love, being fueled by the adventure, being fueled by fun, that actually allows you to feel much more celebrated and much more present in your life than if you were to put all of the value onto the actual thing itself, whether that's ice cream or dinner, and forget about how you actually wanted to feel throughout the whole thing. So I share all of these experiences and stories with ice cream because when it comes to actually expressing your true self, now we're talking about what does it actually look like to be authentic? What does it actually look like to be your true self? What does it actually look like when you are in alignment with your virtues and in integrity with your moral code of conduct, right? When you have actually questioned the paradigms that you're operating in, what is right for you? What is wrong for you? Just like that card in Justice suggests, right? Libra, balancing the scales. When you've actually done this inner work now to challenge the beliefs that you no longer think is true, yet it doesn't feel steady yet of what is actually new, what is actually true to you, and you're trying to experiment, right? You're doing things differently, you're fucking around and finding out, you're just experimenting in life to try to create that evidence of what it is that you actually want to believe in your life versus what is it that you know doesn't work but feels truer. So in this process of shifting your belief system, there's always going to be that like integration period, okay? Because the belief can shift in an instant. However, your mind, right, and the ego and the doubts and the fears, that might take some time to quell using your own experience until it becomes your new normal. Until, for example, with this ice cream, where ice cream is unhealthy to ice cream is just a food. It's not about whether or not ice cream is healthy or not, but do you want this food and how does it feel in your body? In order for you to shift from one paradigm to the other, there's a transition period. And the transition period for you, in order to make what it is that you want your new baseline and embody that version of you, is going to look like deprogramming every should that comes up in your mind and reprogramming it into a I get to, I choose to, or I want to. Those three core statements of get to, want to, and choose to is going to be the antithesis to the shoulds. And here's the thing, I think the reason why we say should so much is not because we're actually looking for everybody else's opinion into how we should live our life, but it's because we are trained to do that. We're trained from a young age that our parents are telling us like, okay, this is what you should wear, this is what you should do, this is what you should study, this is where we're going. And like, if you ask them why, it's because you just should, or I'm the parent, or, you know, this is what we need to do. You just have to do these things. So we start to create the paradigm in which we're living in. And the paradigm is now rooted in these beliefs that you don't have autonomy, you don't have sovereignty. There is no choice. You have to listen to people who are older than you or who have some type of authority, that you need to do things that you don't want to do in order to get the result that you want, right? Whether that is people pleasing in order to not be yelled at, or being manipulative in some way so that you can get the thing that you want or get someone to like you, or that you have to work 8 hours a day in order to make money, when in reality, there's people who work an hour or 4 hours a week and then make as much money as you make in a year. And as long as you're playing by some type of should, you're playing by a rule that is not your own. If you haven't been auditing yourself and how often you say should in your life, whether that's your partner asking them, where should we go to eat? What should I wear? What should I do? Or training yourself to always ask a teacher or a parent, or in this day and age, ChatGPT, like what you should do. If you haven't audited this, this is going to be game changing for you. Literally like sitting down in a day and making it your mission to note down every time you say should and what is the context that you're saying should in. Also notice when you should other people. And this can come in the most what seems like innocuous ways of, oh, you should watch this movie. You should definitely read this book. You should watch this show. It's so good. You should eat this thing. You should try this restaurant. I have also taken that out of my vocabulary as best as I could and swapped that with, I really like this restaurant. I really like this thing. I really like this movie. I really enjoyed it. And I always let people know, I highly suggest this movie. I highly suggest this book. This book is great for this thing. This podcast is great in this way. This is what I learned from it. Instead of pushing it onto somebody, because guess what? Everyone has like a million shoulds already in their mind. They're shoulding themselves over the billion tasks that's on their to-do list. Everything from I should do laundry today. I should wipe the floors today. I should write those emails today. I should start my business today. I should write that book. I should start meditating. I should go out for a walk. I should feed my cat. I should. And the issue when we talk to ourselves this way, and this is our internal monologue, is that we feel incredibly powerless and we feel incredibly scarce. We feel scarce of time, we feel scarce of power, we feel scarce of energy, because these shoulds create unnecessary pressure. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, this pressure is real because I really should get my work done or else I'm going to get fired, or I really should study for this test or I'm going to fail, or I really should go start dating, otherwise I'm going to end up alone. Question to yourself what the actual intention of that should statement is. Because chances are that should statement of I should do work so that I don't get fired, the intention is actually there to try to motivate you. Because if you look at those statements, the intention of that is trying to get you to do the thing that you think is good, that you think is right. And you can only come to that conclusion when you have a paradigm, a truth that is overarching it, that you are operating from. And if you keep seeing that you have to keep pushing yourself, shoulding yourself, putting pressure on yourself to do the thing you say is good to do, it's probably just not helpful to you. Because nobody can thrive in an environment where they're always constantly pressured and pushed to be productive and to do the things that are, quote, good or right. This is why kids rebel. This is why we rebel against ourselves and then we end up doom scrolling instead of going to bed like we should. This is why we end things with new people that we like by saying, I'm just not feeling it, instead of what we should do, which is communicate our feelings. Because the paradigm that a lot of these statements are operating under is don't be bad, right? Be a good girl, be a good boy. Everything that we learned from when we were a child, be good. But never actually questioning for ourselves, what does that mean? Why is this good versus why is this bad? Why is this wrong and why is this bad? Why is this more good? Why is this better than this other thing that is slightly worse or maybe bad? Now, if you have been in personal development for a while and you are aware of your shoulds and you don't want to do that anymore, chances are you have also experienced the frustration that comes with shoulding yourself on top of shoulding yourself, right? This is the, oh, I should go for a walk. Oh, shoot, I shouldn't say should. I should have not said that. I should have said something else instead. Oh, shoot, I just shoulded myself again, right? And you do the thing on top of the thing on top of the thing. And then you're just left with a pile of frustration and perfectionism. And that, my friends, is exactly what that is. That is perfectionism. And this is an invitation for you to simply be able to practice what we talked about in that last episode of having more love for yourself, having more compassion for yourself, to de-shame your being so that when you go about creating change, you really truly can go for that one thought at a time, one feeling at a time, and not try to get every single thought perfect, every single feeling perfect, thinking that that's going to make things go faster. Because you cannot just learn a concept and integrate it immediately perfectly. Everyone's journey looks so different. And so, for example, if you start auditing your shoulds, maybe you see that you improve a lot within the first week, but then you're kind of stuck at the same level for like another 3 months. That's okay. That's normal. Other people, it might take a long time to start noticing all the shoulds. Then they get so sick and tired of themselves, they're on themselves, and then they start shifting and have a spike in growth and start to shift to the I want tos, I get to, I choose tos within the 3-month mark or after the 6-month mark. And then it's just gone out of their vocabulary. Whatever it is that is for you, just honor your journey in this. So let's talk about actually shifting those thoughts and what that looks like, what that sounds like, and how it feels so that you can check in with yourself to know if this is actually aligned for you. And again, you're going to need to get out of your head and get into your body. With every single perspective that I bring up, when it comes to guiding you into alignment and feeling the peace, the purpose, and the power that you want to feel in your life, again, that comes down to a feeling and you need to experience it in your body. It's going to be a physical sensation. It's going to be that calm nervous system energy. It's going to feel like maybe an expansion in your chest, more energy rising into your body, more mental clarity, right? Like relaxation in your mind, feeling kind of like that light in your eyes coming up again, the ease to smile, the ease it is to laugh. You just like walking down the street with kind of a pep in your step. All of those things are tangible experiences that you will be able to notice when you are in that flow state, in that alignment. And I also want to bring up, it's not just those really nice, comfortable emotions that we all strive for, but also the uncomfortable emotions that maybe you don't want to see as much as, or that people avoid, but are also still in alignment with you. For example, anger can still be in alignment with you because your virtue can be wisdom, and that wisdom can be applied to your value of sustainability, for example, or environmentalism. And because you have this wisdom, right, and this perspective of always wanting to get to know the truth and like why do things work the way they are, and you look at the world, you look at how many people are struggling with hunger, right, and how unsustainable the food system has become, or how wasteful it is, then you get to feel angry, right? And that is in alignment with your authentic self. And that might be expressed all the way through the vision piece of things, where maybe now you are trying to buy fruit and vegetables that are from like the ugly fruit company. I don't remember exactly what it's called. I think it's like the ugly produce company. And their whole mission is about reducing food waste by selling the fruits and the vegetables that were not pretty enough to be sold to grocery stores, but then they turn it into like apple chips or like gummy bears, or, you know, maybe you can just get a box of fruit and vegetables for you to cook with, but are like the quote ugly produce, right? There's companies that do that. So that's an example how like even the anger piece, right, can be in alignment with you. Same thing with grief, same thing with frustration, same thing with impatience and boredom. All of those things can be in alignment with you when you know your true self. And when it comes to wanting to live like this exciting life that's full of love, right, you're also going to have to notice the places where you're indifferent, which is the opposite of love. You're going to have to notice where you're bored, which is the opposite of excitement. And it's through that contrast where that vision gets to be built out, right? That's where you actually get to see what it looks like when you focus on what it is. So this is where your tolerance for those emotions, and the more tolerant you can be for boredom, for example, this is also where you'll be able to see your brain go into should mode, and you get to have that chance to shift it. Because when you're bored, your brain's gonna go into, well, I should be doing something. I should do something productive. I should be reading my book. I should be meditating. I should be using this time more. I shouldn't be on TikTok. I shouldn't be just sitting here. I shouldn't just be thinking about this thing. I shouldn't just be whatever, right? And so when you notice those things, you go into the choosing mode, for example. I'm choosing to sit here right now and be bored. I'm choosing to doom scroll on TikTok. I'm choosing to, be doing what I should or should not be doing. And just by you shifting into that idea of, well, you have chosen this. You didn't just fall into this. You're not just victim to another bad habit. You're not just whatever. This is where it gives you that ability to tap back into your power, and then also move into these other thoughts that are much more helpful, the I want to and I get tos. One of the biggest turning points for me when it came to having a better relationship with myself and feeling inadequate in my business because I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make was me seeing how I was choosing that. It was me seeing that I had chosen to go through this challenge and this stress of having inconsistent income because for me, I would much rather do that than work in a corporate job that I am not happy in, that I don't have any control over my schedule with, and I have to deal with team members and all this stuff that I really don't care about. It was me turning these burdens that I had in my life into the blessings that I have. Or more so seeing how these burdens in my life were actually part of the road to being able to create the blessings that I wanted to have, that it was part of the journey that I have chosen. Because no pathway, no journey is going to be great all the time, right? Just like how if you wanted to go on a hike, you can go on so many different hikes. You can go in the mountains, you can go by the beach, you can have different destinations, you can go to a waterfall, you can go, up high and try to get a city view. There's so many different destinations that you can choose, and that is going to be based off of who you are and what you feel drawn to, what you feel curious on. And I guarantee you that if that hike is long enough, if it spans multiple days, multiple months, multiple years, no matter where you are in the world, the weather's not going to be the same, right? You're going to go through a rainy day. It's going to get muddy. There's going to be wild animals. Maybe you get bit by a mosquito, right? There's going to be something on every single path that you choose. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that you chose the wrong path. It doesn't mean that you're now behind. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have gone that path. It doesn't mean that there should have been a better way. There's no shooting yourself of avoiding the uncomfortableness and the unforeseen events that happen as you're on your journey. All you have to do is respond to them. You don't have to react so negatively to them. You don't have to react positively to them. You don't have to try to change anything. All you have to do is see what has happened, accept it, and continue to move down your path. So let's use the same example of me and my business feeling inadequate, not making the money I wanted to make. When I saw that I had chosen this path, right, with these ups and downs in my income, what that allowed me to do was take a deep breath and de-stress. It allowed me the mental space to open up my perspectives to what else is actually true. Like, why am I doing this? And the reasons why I'm doing it, first of all, is because I feel very convicted that this is part of my mission, that this is part of me being able to use my gifts on this world, to be able to create more fulfillment in my life, because it has been. Another reason financially is because there is no income cap. Only whatever I would choose. Theoretically, right, with entrepreneurship, there is no income cap. And you get to choose your own prices. You get to choose who it is that you work with. You get to pay your taxes and write off the things that were business expenses that you wouldn't be able to if you were working a traditional 9-to-5. I chose this path because I wanted to, right? And when I see that from that lens of I want to be in this business, I want to have my own business, I want to grow my own business, I want to do this podcast, I want to keep going on this journey, then you also by proxy want the challenges. Because also with the wisdom that comes from what going on choosing this journey entails, it's also you saying, I want to grow these skill sets. I want to become a better marketer. I want to go deeper into knowing myself so that when I help my clients, I'm able to meet them at greater depths because I've been able to meet myself at greater depths. I want to be able to have better relationships with my parents, with my friends, with my partner. And therefore, by me choosing to do my business, I'm also creating this time flexibility, this space, these opportunities for me to also be able to maybe provide for these people that I find important in my life, right? So you're seeing now how like the challenges and these burdens that you just had to do, that you should do, that you need to do are actually part of the blessing. And it's the entire journey that is that blessing that you get to do, that you choose to do, and that you want to do. And if you're able to transmute the shoulds to want tos when it comes to building your skill sets or changing your perspectives and doing different things, getting uncomfortable, then you're actually setting yourself up for such an incredible life and being able to feel like you're winning every single day rather than only winning when you hit some type of accomplishment that you've set, some type of external result. One of the core concepts that I teach when I'm coaching my clients is the difference between bonus results and winning results. And the bonus result is the thing that you can see externally, right? The 100K in a year, the having a partner, the getting down to 120 pounds, the being able to lift like 300 pounds. You know, it's the things that you can see. And yet the actual result, right? The genuine, true result, the winning result is how you actually feel, the skill sets that you've grown, the perspectives that have changed, and you actually being able to feel the way you want to feel and become this person who's able to sustain having that goal. This is what allows you to take the pressure off of yourself while still staying motivated, because now you're motivated by, for example, in my business, okay, I get to practice being more articulate with myself, being able to enunciate my words better, being quicker in my editing skills, marketing myself in more effective ways, using my social media in more effective ways, and testing all these things out as part of the process. And I get to also want to do those things. I'm choosing to do those things. It's not just I want a certain number of listeners on my podcast. It's not that I want a certain conversion rate from each episode to becoming paying clients. It's that in itself, this creative project for me is valuable and I'm choosing to do it. I get to do it and the entire process to me is valuable. And then I can also let go of whatever bonus results might come out of that. Chances are there's going to be more bonus results than I can even think of. And again, with the Hermetic principle that we've talked about, as above, so below, as within, so without, so the universe, so the soul. It's this Hermetic principle that really talks about how life is a mirror, right? What is happening internally is going to be reflected to you externally. Your external reality and how you perceive it is going to be reflected back to you internally. That everything that happens in the universe is also the same thing that's made up of us and our stardust. And that what we do with our life force is also going to impact the collective. It is just everything is an ecosystem. Everything is mirrored to us and within us and from us. So with that being said, I hope that this gives you some food for thought and allows you to start seeing where you are shitting yourself and where you are shitting other people. Start to notice how this feels different for you. And if you want support in this, I highly recommend booking a hypnotherapy session with me, because what I've seen time and time again is that this is not your fault, right? It's not your fault that you are shitting yourself. It's not your fault that you should other people. It's not other people's fault that they do the same thing to you. We are all a product of the environment that we are in, right? And that we have been conditioned to. So often this is just so drilled into our psyche, into our subconscious, that this is the normal thing to do, that it's literally automatic. You might not even notice how often you should yourself, how often you berate yourself, how often you have that little like, oh, I'm such an idiot, or oh my gosh, I forgot this thing, I'm so stupid, or oh my God, I can't believe that, or oh my gosh, like life sucks, right? Like all these things that seem harmless, seem like we have conscious control over because we're not taking it personally, is actually still so rooted in the subconscious. And when you get to the root cause and nip it in the butt, all those things clear out. And also you start to improve your quality of thoughts, your quality of life, your quality of your feelings. So if you want to fast track that change of shooting yourself to making life feel like you have choice, that you have power, that you get to do things, that you are blessed in this life, that you are lucky to live the life that you live because of who you are, then check out hypnotherapy. I have spots open right now, and it's a 1-month process. If you want to know more, all the links are going to be down in the description box. You can also check it out on my website at jencui.com. That's JENCUI.com. And if you need anything, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Jen the Soul Whisperer. That's JEN the Soul Whisperer. Happy to answer any questions you have there, to share with you the testimonials that I have, my personal experience with hypnotherapy, and honestly just get started with you so that you can start living a much more liberated, free, and powerful life. With that, friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay well.